Welcome to 2016. It is about the end of March or back half of March, and weather's been a little bit warmer. So I was able to get out in the garden and do a little bit of work, and I thought I would do a short little video and post it. In particular, I wanted to talk to you about garlic, and I went a little bit crazy at the end of the year last year and planted around a dozen varieties or a dozen cultivars of garlic, and wanted to show you that. So let's go take a look real quick. First off, you can see I was able to get into the gardens with the warmer weather, and I was able to put in some compost and manure and a little extra peat moss. These won't be planted in obviously until later for the warmer crops, but the dirt's all there and that work is out of the way. I got the grapevines all trimmed up. That will be ready. That should be sprouting in the next week or two all along there. And then if you look in these two beds, is what I really wanted to show you. You can see little sprouts of green. And this past fall I planted, I can't remember exactly, I believe I planted 12 different cultivars of garlic. I did that by taking the heads of the garlic and breaking it into individual cloves, and then I took a stick and I planted them 6 inches apart this way and 6 inches apart that way. I had a board that I could mark off with marker every 6 inches, and then I laid it down and I would poke a hole in it and stick the garlic clove down into it. And when you plant the garlic clove, you always want to plant the root, the flat part, down at the bottom, and you want to plant the pointy part pointing up. I covered them up. I put a little bit of mulch over the top of them. Not even really sure you need to do that. And I let them go. Now you'll see I got these planted around the 3rd week in October, and that probably was a little early. I think next year I will plant them around the beginning of November, like November 1st, and I'm in the Chicago area again. But you'll see where these actually, some of them came up. I'll zoom in here and you'll see that they were out in the cold over the winter. While these guys are super durable, and they will be fine, that plant will be totally fine. You do have a little bit of, they can only stand so much in the way of winter. In particular, they can dehydrate in the cold and in the wind if it's below freezing. But you can see here that most all of them are coming up, and these have all just shot up in the last couple of weeks, and we should be harvesting by May or June. These will, probably by June I should say, they'll start losing some of their leaves, will be dying back, and we'll pull these up and harvest a good crop of garlic. Now over here, and you'll see they come up at different speeds. This variety here, there's a couple that have shot up. There's one. Here's another one just starting to come up right now, which is quite a bit different than some of these varieties up here that have almost probably 4 or 5 inches of growth. But they'll come up, and they will be probably ready to pull right around June. Now what I did over here, there were a couple varieties that I wanted to get that I could not find heads of garlic on. So I left this part of the bed empty during the winter, and just yesterday I pulled back the mulch and I made 2 little furrows, or 3 little furrows I should say, in the ground, and I sprinkled in bubils, garlic bubils, which I could find. Challenge with garlic bubils are they will not most likely form heads of garlic this year. Even if they do, they're going to be very small. It's basically going to be a 2-year process. I'll have to replant those again this coming fall, and then next year I will actually have halfway decent sized heads of garlic. But I just got done doing that. I did not want to plant them during the winter for fear of those are a little bit more sensitive, and I didn't want to lose them over the winter. And frankly, the The bubils will grow just fine, and they have plenty of growing period this summer, and they'll actually die back, and I'll be able to get, they look like, they call them rounds, and they look almost like a marble, but it'll be a garlic marble. It's kind of a single clove, but it'll be round. I'll pull those out, dry them out, and cure them for a couple of weeks, and then in November, when I plant all the other garlic in again this year, I'll put those into rows, into their own rows. What's also interesting is while I planted these 6 inches apart, each of these plants being 6 inches apart, with the bubils, once I create a row, they're small. They're going to come up and they'll almost look like grass. They won't be big, you know, green stalks of garlic. They don't have enough energy for that. So once you create like a little furrow, you can actually just sprinkle them in there. And as long as they're within a, you know, keep them within a ½ inch or an inch of each other, there's plenty of space in there for them to grow. And you can put a lot more, you know, kind of in essence, plant them much more densely, at least in the first year. So I just wanted to give you a quick shot of different garden beds. We are pretty well ready to go. I'm probably going to have more cold weather, and this has just been a bit of a warm spell, but it has kind of the juices flowing. We've got seeds are on order. We're going to be planting seeds this weekend in the garage to get them ready to plant in May. And otherwise, it's just kind of fun to be seeing the garlic coming up early and getting a start on it. It's fun to see the garden season get underway. Hope all is well. Talk to you later.